Hey everyone, welcome back to our coverage of House of Villains season 2 over here on We Know Villains, RHAP, We Know Reality TV. This is what we're doing. If you hear something on this podcast, you can maybe say that it's true because you heard it on a podcast, but I don't think I want to commit to that. Perhaps my lovely co-host here, Chappell, do you want to commit to anything said here is truth?
Oh, no, we're filthy liars. Like we made it up. If y'all heard it here first, it's probably not true. We came up with it on our own. We bought these viewers. We bought our followers on Instagram as well. Yeah, we're here for the clout, and that's it. If you take a little lying, then so be it. This is House of Villains, baby. This is what we're supposed to do.
Yes, that it is pretty villainous of us to just be speaking some shit on this podcast as truth. I mean, if Victoria, girl, if you're listening, if you want to take anything said here and say, listen, I heard it on a podcast, must be true.
We'll
That's
take it.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It was true when we did give her the cocky two weeks in a row, though. So is that
Mhm.
happened? That
Yeah.
happened, right?
Week
Yeah.
1 was Victoria Cocky. Week 2 was Victoria Cocky. Now we're up to week 4,
We gave one
and
to New
Victoria,
York.
New York won. New York won the Cocky last week,
Yeah,
and so this week
I know.
you have to figure out a person to give it to. Because no disrespect to Victoria, I don't think it's her this time.
It's definitely not Victoria. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Yeah, sorry, sweetie. This is not for you.
We see
Sorry.
her. Yeah, this is a rough episode for Victoria. Rough episode for a lot of people. Chappell, I'd love to hear your thoughts, obviously, on how you feel with this episode. And I don't know, maybe I'm speaking a little too hyperbolically, but I feel like this might have been the best episode so far.
Ooh, okay. I
I
don't
just feel
know.
like there was a lot of mess.
There was a lot of mess. There was a lot of mess and some gameplay. We saw a
Yeah.
blind side at the end of the episode. We definitely saw a lot of fighting, some strategy going on here. And I think we also kind of, if you're paying attention, you might have seen the emergence of a couple new power players that are in the house that are
Hmm.
kind of creeping through. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I did. Very excited to see, kind of what you thought about the happenings as we go through the
Oh,
episode.
yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it kind of delivered on like all of the different things that I'm looking for on House of Villains. I feel like the only thing that maybe fell short for me, but I still felt like it delivered in other ways was like the challenges because I really don't care about the challenges. Like they can be super low budget if they
Mhm.
provide the purpose of drama, which I think that this one did end up still doing. But it was literally, I mean, listen, today is Halloween.
Yeah.
Election day is ahead of us. There's nothing spookier than election season, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
He
you're
planned this
right. This was
perfectly.
this was a crazy challenge, especially to drop right now, right? We're like a week
Yeah,
away from the United
they
States'
knew.
probably most important election that they've had in forever. And so
Ugh.
this is going to be a
Feels like
big
we're
deal.
saying that too much, though, right? Like I feel like
No,
we're
I
saying that
think
all
this
like it's
one,
been.
yeah. But this one here, when you got a
Yeah.
felon on the ballot, you gotta make some choices, y'all.
Listen,
So
he was already a felon on the last two ballots. He just wasn't. It wasn't official yet.
right, right. You got a felon on the ballot. I think that adds some gravity to the election. And so it seems like House of Villains has really leaned into that. Joe McHale will show up and say it's campaign time. And this challenge is essentially like almost like a reverse safety chain, where it's just like
Yeah.
choose the person you don't want to win immunity and then potentially, decide who will campaign later on for, a super villain of the week, and then hope that you don't get put up on the block while doing that, unless your name is New York, in which case
Oh,
you might get to have it all.
the house loves her. The house loves her. It's haunted. It's
Yeah.
haunted for her.
Yeah, which is wild, right? Because what was she talking about?
I don't know, but I love it. That whole scene of her. I mean, listen. Okay, New York got the cocky last week.
Mhm,
Rightful. I feel justified in giving it to her. She got Richard out, who was definitely the one person that would be going after her.
mhm.
And this is the time where New York gets a little squirrely, and she's like this time last season was basically well, actually, I think she was probably gone by now, but I think she found her person that she had her little thing with Richard. He was kind of giving it back, but he did not have the social ties to win that war. And he goes home, and for New York, she can't just go back to like, okay, got my target out, time to chill. I don't know if she's bored or if she's just like, she's sitting in that bed, she's active, she's
She's
on her charging
recharging.
dock.
Yeah, she's charging.
And she wants that bedroom all to herself, and she's decided a new target has emerged.
Didn't she get it
I
all
just
to herself too? Like she literally got the
She
bed to
won.
herself. Jenny, I I think I want to give her the cocky again. This is crazy.
Okay. Listen, I think we should talk through the whole goings-ons of this episode, because a lot
Mhm.
happened, especially in this latter half. Like everyone's firing at each other. There were so many conversations where I'm like, who is mad at who here? Are we all mad at each
Yeah,
other? I'm so
hard to
confused.
keep up.
I think that there are a couple people that that are in consideration for the cocky. And let's see if we can come to an agreement on this, because listen, she said she wanted the room to herself. You raise an excellent point. She got it.
She wanted the room to herself, and for some reason, she wants Teresa to go home. Not to get too far ourselves, but Teresa's on the block. I'm just saying, New York.
Yeah.
You a couple weeks ago, you were like, "Look, if y'all could be the New York whisperer, I think you could take New York and use her." I still don't know about that, but I do find it so cool that New York has been immune 2 out of the 4 weeks that we've been doing this. We've had 5 episodes. We had 2 week 1. She pulls the lever week 1 in the jailbreak competition
Yeah.
and gets immunity for the entire week. And this time, she manages to get put in a spot in that campaign challenge where she gets immunity again. New York is at least guaranteed to make it to the next week. This is crazy.
It's crazy, and it's so great. And like beyond just having these opportunities to save herself, it doesn't seem to be hurting her position in like the hierarchy of the game either. Like people are protecting her. She's got people that want to work with her, at least in Safari and Wes, who together seem to have a lot of sway in this house, Wes especially. She's got people that she's working with, and also like people are scared of her. Like we see in this in this battle royale challenge, the passing of the boxes. It gets down to what, like 4 people or 5 people, and Mr. Spectacular, Jesse, who can't believe I'm saying has been like the very, very subdued. He's waiting. He's
Yes,
waiting for his moment, and I love this for
charging.
him.
Mhm.
He's in his own charging dock. He's charging up, and he has, a decision to make here where he outlines like, okay, there's a couple people left here, like Larsa wants to work with us, and I can't remember like the explanation about somebody else, but then he literally says, I'm terrified of New York. New York is
Yep.
crazy. I'm scared of her. Um if that's what's necessary to keep her going, I'm okay with that.
A lot of people are saying that though. Every time they're running through the order, they're like, okay, this person can do this. This person is this. I'm aligned with this person, but New York is crazy. And then they just move on like everything's normal. They don't actually ever consider, like, they're like, I'm not doing that. I just am not. I'm not going to latch on to that line of just chaos because I can avoid the New York thing. It can be somebody else's problem. Somebody else can take out New York and I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Um, and
How
so
long does
it's
this
like,
go on for, you think?
right. Like he literally gives that box to New York because she's insane. So, it's like, all right, I'll take it. If that's what it takes to get New York to the next round, if she's intimidated these people too much to where they just don't want to deal with her nonsense, so be it. They have to have an upside to doing the things that New York does because we will see her randomly picking fights with people throughout the season. And if she can use that and still navigate and get to the end of the game, they got to give it up for the girls. They got to give it up for the queen.
Yeah. I mean, listen. As someone who truly felt like we were robbed very early last season with New York going so soon. I'm pleased that we got her back, and I'm pleased that we're on what, episode 5, and she's gonna be here for at least a couple more.
Yeah.
I'm pleased as punch. Another theme of this episode, Chappell, is this continuing storyline of New York being like somewhat of a fortune teller. Like
She's psychic.
she's psychic. She has this.
Mhm.
What did you think of this dream sequence?
Now
Like
this was funny as hell.
this show
Yeah.
is so unserious. I love it.
Safari has a dream. We get a dream sequence where we actually kind of see Safari running through his dreams. There's dogs at the crib. He's like, what does that mean? And then New York's like, oh, by the way, I had a dream as well. And I saw that Larsa is going to be winning. And I love that the show shows us like the clip of Larsa sitting on Supervillain of the Week. To you, did that like foreshadow that Larsa was indeed going to win too much? Because I know you're really good at
Yeah.
seeing the clues in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, when we got, well, also in the previously on, again, that's like another like edit thing that I look to. It's like, because in the previously on, they pointed to like a couple things, and like I think that they pointed to New York's previous premonition that she had, and so I was like, this is going to be a thing, and she's going to be what was it last week where she was like what was, I can't even remember what it was. It was something where she was like, it's gonna be, I thought it was like that Jesse was going to win the
Oh no, Candy. She said Candy.
oh
Candy wins the Supervillain of the
the
Week.
one that
And
Candy won.
yeah,
Yes,
and then
okay.
Candy comes in like, "Hey, it's me. I
Yeah.
won."
And
Yeah,
maybe again, the broken clock being right.
that's nice.
Um maybe we're just not seeing the times she gets it wrong, but when they showed us that this is a thing that New York is doing, that she feels like she's sensing things in this house, I'm like, okay, as soon as we have this conversation where she says to Larsa, like, I think it's gonna be you this week, I'm like I want to watch it play out, but like lock it up, like it's happening.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I appreciated that we got to see the mess that ensued to get us there.
Mhm.
So okay, I know we're jumping around. Let's talk about New York's decision here. So
Okay.
obviously in the challenge again, it was like kind of like a safety chain, but like with the randomness of not knowing for sure what the box you were giving to the next person did, because in some cases the box just said you are eliminated. In some cases
Mhm.
the box eliminated you and you also got to eliminate another person and then give another box to somebody, which in that case it seemed to be usually that box was positive. So New York, the house loves her. She gets the box that gives her the option to make herself the other nominee. Larsa had already gotten the
The other
box saying that
candidate.
she was,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, she was the other candidate for the supervillain of the week. Or she could just choose to have safety for the week from the hit list. And oh my goodness, our girl, she was fucking thrilled. And so yeah, like obviously she already had this premonition that Larsa was going to win. So
Mhm.
there, you might think, well, okay, if you win supervillain of the week, you get safety and you also get power. But I love this for New York where she says, I don't need power.
No.
I already know, like the gods have spoken. The House of Villains house gods have spoken. Larsa's winning. I'm not losing to her. I'm going to give myself safety.
Yes, and on top of that, New York kinda wants Teresa to go. So she's like, what better way to get Teresa to go than to make her have to campaign against Larsa? Because if they get to slinging mud at each other, then maybe there'll be some housewife beef here, and that's good for New York. So, I'm telling you, my sis here, she did what needed to be done. She
I
said,
know.
I'm gonna take safety without power. I'm gonna take my hands off of this, let y'all figure it out, and I'll be here in 2 more episodes to fight another day.
Mhm.
Uh, I'll take it. I think this was the right move,
I
definitely.
agree. I
She
think
doesn't
it's the
get
right
any
move
blood
for
on her hands.
anyone, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like, I think that, like, unless you're in a real situation where you need to get somebody out, I think
Mhm.
someone in New York's position, it makes a ton of sense to just sit back and be safe. But
Yeah. And despite her coming after Teresa, Teresa didn't know that. So she could put Teresa in a position where she's a candidate. Teresa wins supervillain of the week. New York still didn't feel like she was going to go home. So it was like either one of them were good options for her, despite the fact that she was about to betray Teresa if she could, you know. So
yeah.
this was perfect. I think if it's somebody else, then maybe that doesn't have as good of a relationship with those two, they could obviously become one of the candidates and try to seize control for their side. But New York was good with both of them. So she's like, I don't care which one of you wins. And honestly, by stepping down, it probably earned some good favor with Larsa because I'm telling Larsa she's going to win. This
And
easily
I'm
removes me
letting
from the
her. Yeah.
conversation. Right,
Mhm.
exactly. It's like,
Shows that I
no,
don't want to take it from her. I just want to be
exactly.
safe. Um,
Hmm.
Now, do you think that there was any risk for New York in potentially uh having Teresa win the election? Or does she know if it's Larsa versus Teresa, Larsa's 100% going to win?
I think New York thought she was safe with Teresa. Teresa was shocked that New York wanted to, like, starts to turn on her. She doesn't
Oh, I
even
know.
understand why. And it's because of exactly what we
I
said. You
understand why
cannot
she doesn't
be
understand
right.
it.
You cannot be the New York whisperer. It's not a thing. And so Teresa's like, I've been nothing but kind to you. We share a room. We know how
But
precious
she's
that
doing
is
that with
to New York.
everyone. That's the thing, is like, I think that for New York, Teresa's like,
She's
I
like,
see how you move. It's like the same with
you're too
everyone.
nice. Yeah, you're too nice to people. What's that about? I thought
Yeah.
New York used to have respect for this woman's hairline. It's clearly gone. And now
The hairline
yeah,
has
the hairline is
receded.
present. The hairline is present, but the respect is gone, you know? And so, yeah, I think as far as New York knew, Teresa wasn't coming for her, you know? And but like Teresa, maybe if she had caught wind that New York was coming after her, but New York had been doing such a good job of just smiling in her face and then just being like, I want her gone. I want her gone.
Yeah.
Because she wanted her own room. And who could have foresaw that coming? The person who was most hell bent on like, oh yeah, my roommate this, my roommate that. Is like, okay, but now you gotta go.
It's incredible. Like, she walked into the house late, like after the last person of this group, obviously not as late as Larsa. Um the room like the bed in the room that she stayed in last season was already claimed. She manages to get this bed for herself without any real conflict, and now she has taken over the entire room. She has she has forced Teresa out. Like, just incredible stuff here. But the other thing about the like how this challenge works and her decision here is I do believe, based on what she said, she was expecting that by giving the box to Teresa, that was pretty much guaranteeing that it was going to be Teresa versus Larsa. But she didn't know exactly what that box was. So there was a chance that it could have just been eliminating Teresa, and then it could have been Wes versus Larsa, right? Which I think that she probably would be fine with anyway. I mean, at this point, she's probably fine with anything. She's safe. She's taken safety. But
Mhm.
I wonder if there was a part of her that was like, worst case scenario, it's Wes versus Larsa, and I'm good no matter what.
Yeah, no, she was good. She was done. She knew what's up. She was good. I'm so happy for her, especially when
Yeah.
if you do end up in Teresa in this campaigning spot, you need to know that Teresa's just gonna be like, but I've known you longer than her. I know you longer.
Oh,
Like I walked in the house before her. I walked in the house. Like you know, like Larsa came the next day, essentially. It maybe might be like 2 days
basically, yeah.
later. Yeah. It's like, I've
Yeah.
known you longer. Like, bruh, Larsa, honestly, you didn't even know Larsa longer than so many people. As we know, Victoria knew Larsa prior, like, so
Yes.
it's not even that. But it was just like Teresa had nothing. She had nothing to promise people. She's keeping her cards so close to the vest. Um,
She won't tell
so far,
production. She won't tell anyone what she
so far as
wants.
like, so who are you gonna put up? I don't know. I guess I have to see. Girl, I'm not voting for you, so you can put me up.
Yeah.
So sorry, Teresa. She was out of her league with this one. This wasn't her challenge.
Yeah. Teresa has endeared herself to Victoria,
Hmm.
but I think that also Teresa's the only person that is like actively nice to Victoria.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I loved the way that they edited Teresa's campaign, because it truly was her just being like, "Well, I know I've known you longer. This was a losing campaign, and this is the rise of Larsa basically being like, I know it to I'm taking this. Like I love that Larsa is interested in the gaming aspect of this, because
Mhm.
as much as I appreciate Teresa being there, as an iconic villain and like as a character, uh I don't think that and Larsa even says this herself in this episode. I don't think she knows what she's doing. And
Yeah.
Larsa is fresh off traders that did not go well for her. And I think that she's got the taste. Like, and you know what I mean? She's like, she got a little taste of blood, and she's like, e- like, so she's just in a different level. And I just love that she's like, I know what I need to do. And like, she doesn't.
But what do you think about the move that Larsa pulls here? Because Larsa,
I know.
could pick anybody to put up on the chopping block for for elimination this week, and eventually she does land on Teresa as one of her candidates because she wants to separate herself from this housewife alliance that took
She's
her down.
traumatized by traders.
Do you think this is the right move?
Um, I don't here's the thing. It was wild, and it's hard to look at this and not say this has like mastermind Wes fingerprints all over it. Like the fact that, you know, Wes was able to get the target off Victoria onto Camilla, and like, none of his people beside them, like, it's hard to look at this and be like, "Oh, this is Wes's puppeteering. This is Lars," and like see this as just Larsa's move. But I also kind of understand where Larsa's coming from. I can understand that for, if there's been the debate about who said it and who was complacent or complicit about it, this like getting out the housewives narrative, and she's being tied to Teresa as besties. She's saying like, maybe that's just not good for me, and if there's a whoopsie and Teresa's the one that goes, that's taking away someone that I'm getting tied to. Maybe that's not the worst thing. However, that's a lot different than like the situation on the Traders, where there was like a lot of housewives people.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Like, what do you think about it?
I think this is cracked. I don't know what I don't
I
know what.
definitely was like I was like, what? Like I was like everyone else that was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm so confused by this. Like, I understand you don't want to be lumped in with the housewives, but is anybody ever just really like the voting block of Teresa and Larsa is so powerful.
So
It's just like,
powerful.
no, it's just
The one
your
person
names
that
came up.
doesn't have any plans or doesn't
Right.
show
Teresa's
them.
not letting anybody in on anything. It's like you're not in that much danger. In fact, she's a buffer. If you don't get
Yeah.
her out this week, you could end up on the block next week. Like stop it. Stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy to do this. I don't agree with the move at all.
Yeah.
I think that Teresa was never gonna put Larsa up from what we could tell. So it's a
And
waste
now
of
you've
time.
wronged her.
Now you've wronged her and she has every reason to put you up, so it's
Yeah.
like you got to get her out right here. And then that's not to say that people still won't be interested in taking out a housewife. Just because she's gone doesn't mean like, oh, now my target's gone. Now you've done a big move and you've done it alongside two other big players as well. So just an interesting choice for Larsa, but
I know.
she's clearly got PTSD from the traders, like you said.
Well, the other thing is that she clearly acknowledges that Wes had some sort of part in it, which was also an interesting thing. Like, it's not great for Wes that people keep on like pointing to him, but he's also escaping it. So I don't know. I just feel like you've indicated that like he's influenced this decision. So even if in some wild twist of events, Teresa is the one that goes this round, and you've broken up the like, okay, well, I'm not, there's no housewives thing. You have this now, like, oh, this is one of Wes's minions. And so if someone is ready to take the shot at Wes, you're almost guaranteeing your place as someone that's going to be on the hit list beside him, and as could
Mhm.
be collateral damage if someone can't complete the shot on Wes. So that's like a dangerous place to be as well. Like I maybe there's just so many of these Wes's minions at this point that you know there's enough to go around, but I I loved it from a TV standpoint, like watching her make these nominations and be like, okay, she's still putting Victoria up.
Mhm.
She's gonna put Camilla up. Like the Camilla's word versus Wes's like went that way, and then the swerve of thinking that we were going to get Wes up. Oh, she gets this speech where she says,
Mhm.
this is so hard. I spent all day with this person. And then she literally says, Wes, you've taught me a lot about the game. And then that is what she uses as her segue to put up Teresa. Like, huh?
Yes. When I heard Wes, I my mouth was on the floor because I was like,
I
"Wait a
couldn't
minute."
believe it. I was
I was like,
getting
"She caught it. She caught it. She figured it out. She knows that she was being used." But then it was like, "Oh damn, you there?
oh
No, this is wrong. This is wrong.
no.
Completely run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back." But you're right. Camilla and Victoria also end up on the block together. I really
Yep.
want to know what you think about Camilla this episode because by the end of this whole thing, her and Victoria seemingly are like two like opposing forces teaming up
Oh,
to take down the evil housewife. But it didn't start there by any means.
no, that's the thing is like this episode has so many different like feuds and storylines weaved through it that kind of like come to a head at the end to the point where like who is on each other's side. Like the I was like pinging back and forth watching how this all played out, which is why I really enjoyed this episode, because this episode starts out with the storyline between Camilla and Victoria. We've heard a lot about people being annoyed by Victoria. Her kind of just she's really gossipy, she's talking a
Mhm.
lot, she's wearing on people's nerves. And one of those people is Camilla, who is basically just trying to like get away from her, doesn't even want to be in the same room as her. And this kind of rift starts where she asks like Victoria to give her some like space and time to talk to, I don't know, was it Candy and somebody else? Was it Safari maybe outside?
Yeah.
And Victoria doesn't like it. And there's like this growing weird tension between the two of them. And then Victoria goes on her little like campaign of her own, going around the house and being like, Camilla has an issue with me.
Mhm.
Um, and for to start with that and end where we did with them like high-fiving each other on the hit list, it's beautiful, it's chaotic.
Yeah.
um I Do you think that this is like how much of this is just Camila can't handle it? You know what I mean? She's like, I can't deal with this girl. Like, she doesn't care that this is like a really bad game move for her to be like, you know, straight up telling Victoria to leave rooms that she's in. Because I know that Camila wants to play the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, she's extremely annoyed by Victoria right now. I think Candy is as well. And the two
Oh,
of them
yes.
just getting their little bubble and they just talk shit. And so I was like, whenever I think Victoria calls it out perfectly. She said, whenever you hate somebody, everything that they do pisses you off, right? And
Bitch
she's like,
eating
oh,
crackers. I reference this all the time.
right. And then Larsa's like, okay, well, don't eat the crackers around her. Like that's the vibe,
That's
right? Like
poignant.
I can't stand her ass. It's like, why? What is she doing breathing? It's like I just the way that she breathes,
Don't
the way
breathe
she
around
talks,
her
I
then.
hate the way she eats. Yeah, it's like to stay your ass away from her. But it's like
Mhm.
if somebody dislikes you on that level, there's nothing you can do except avoid them. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
they probably dislike the fact that you're avoiding them. Like, look, they don't even talk to me because she knows what she did.
It will
So
all like confirm whatever feelings you already have.
right. But the best thing to form a bond with somebody? A common
Hating
enemy.
someone
Yeah.
else. Hell
So
yeah.
yeah. So although I thought this was gonna get tough for Camilla, it did look like and Victoria, because it did look like Victoria was working her way into the bad side of the house. I think that if she ends up on the block next like in the final two chairs or whatever this week, I think there's a good chance Victoria could be going home. It doesn't look like anybody's willing to put their neck out on the line for her. Comma, but with Camilla being pissed off like this, And if she is able to survive the block, maybe that's somebody who Camilla will look at as an ally that could come after Larsa. What better way to get rid of Larsa than get rid of a housewife and say, okay, well, that's one down. That completely burns a bridge that Larsa didn't have to burn. Teresa is probably not that big of a threat, or like somebody that you can like count on to win a competition and come after Larsa. So get rid of her and then leave Victoria in the house with a new enemy in Larsa, and maybe her and Camilla can work together. I think there's a room for them to play together, because for a second, I thought it was a wrap for Victoria. I was like, these people hate you and you're making it worse.
Yeah, the only person that's really like stumping for Victoria here is Teresa. And it was not looking good. But here's the thing is like, I think I can see like Camilla wanting to work with Victoria, but also not having like the ability to still do it. You know what I mean? Like I could see her, because I think Victoria just can't help herself. You know what I mean?
No,
like
Jenny, we love Victoria. But did you watch her in this episode? She's
driving me nuts, and I love her.
She's clearly in beef with Camilla and Candy. We look up, and next thing you know, she's telling Camilla and Candy, yeah, I think Larsa buys her follower. The people that you're beefing with, why would you tell them that?
Because what happened the next thing in front of her, you know what I mean? It's like that's the problem. It's, you know, if you are starting, and this is why like what Larsa said wasn't that wrong about Victoria, but like you have issues with everyone in the house, is because it's like you have to be loyal to somebody, and you know you can't be going to different sides whenever the thing, you know, like the one side has done something to piss you off. You can't be going to the other side and be like, oh, I'm going to talk shit about them, to like this will always catch up to you. I don't think that she does it knowingly though. Like Victoria says it in this episode. She does have this self-awareness where she says, my toxic trait is that I like to gossip, but you know, gossip is how women communicate and take down the patriarchy. I heard it on a podcast. It must be true.
I didn't know I was a feminist until now. And now I'm like, I too support this gossip thing that y'all talking about. I love some mess, man. I'm sorry. I'm the guy who like, you know, like find the messiest bitch you can find, and it's a man. It's like, it's me. Sit like, down. Hey, yeah, I'm not spreading it, but definitely tell me. I want to hear it. I want to know. Yeah. I'm just nosy. That's why I watch so much TV. You know, I like to know what's going on. Sorry.
I love to observe everyone else's shit.
Yeah, if there's cool stuff going on, what do you mean you didn't tell me? Are you crazy?
I want to know.
So
I mean, the group chat, baby.
Look at us taking down the patriarchy. You know,
that's what we do here. That's what this podcast is doing.
If I have to put my privilege to the side, then this is the way you do it. You know, get some gossip.
That's so noble of you.
Thank you. Thanks.
You know, we're really changing the world here. No, this like, I love that she can't help herself. Like it's so that's the thing is like, everyone's like being like, oh, she's so fake. She's so fake. I'm like, no, I think that this is just her. And she knows no other way. It's like, she had a bad interaction with someone. She can look past the bad interaction she had with the other person yesterday because she still has like an affection for them. Like, I think she just has like very complicated relationships with all of these people. Like, you remember what went on between her and Safari, and now she's like, that didn't happen. She's turning to Safari. She's making, you know, like that's Buddy now. Like, what?
Yeah. She was talking to him about his relationships and stuff like that. So like, oh, so you have a crush on Larsa? Like, what's going on? You know, like she was really in it. She gossiping. She can't help it. You know what I'm saying? And so
she's just being her.
But I'm like, ma'am, that's not how you win the game. You went and told your nemesis that, you know, exactly what they needed.
Ammunition.
Yeah, because they flipped this whole conversation on her. She was not doing what they were characterizing her of doing. You know, like when she was talking about Larsa, she said that Larsa was self-interested. But when they brought it to her, she couldn't remember what she said. She said calculated, but they were trying to say that basically you called her self-absorbed. And like, she didn't say that. She said self-interested, and then she said calculated, you know, but like, I don't know. And to me, I was like,
Somebody
it
break up the thesaurus.
right.
Is
But
it
like,
does it right if it's just a synonym?
but
Like,
the intention wasn't there. Like, right? Like
yeah.
even when they were like, "Do you think she's fake?" And she was like, "I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't say fake." She said fake isn't the right word. Like she legit said that.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, you called her a fake bitch." It was like, that's not what she said. And so for her, she's defensive, but then she tries to flip it on them. And even then, it doesn't really, it falls on deaf ears because they're in lockstep. Candy and Camilla are saying the exact same thing. No, you said this. You said she bought followers. The only way they would have that information and have it on standby like that simultaneously is if someone said it. And so it was just like she was up against a tag team that she just wasn't ready for. But again, she put herself in this position, and now Larsa doesn't believe anything she's saying. When she could have had a good relationship with Larsa, well, before I get into that,
Mhm.
do you think she could have had a good relation with Larsa?
I don't
Because
know.
in this episode, Larsa acts like she's never liked Victoria. I've never been fond of you at any point. No wonder why I didn't accept your Instagram request. Like, I
Yeah.
yeah, Larsa's
It's
gaslighting us. She didn't like Victoria from the beginning,
I
or
think
did
that
she?
that's probably the case. I mean, she does say that, again, this is when she's already actively in an argument with Victoria, but she does say like there's a reason I didn't really like you the few times we hung out in person. Like that that could be true. I think that maybe there's a part of Larsa where she was like, you know, and I don't know what it's like to be one of these like, social like reality TV social media people that
Mhm.
is constantly meeting all these people in these social situations where they're like, I we have something in common, but I don't know whether we actually like each other. I think that maybe like Victoria was not the most favorite person she's ever met, but she was maybe willing to get to know her and like find some fondness for her in this situation. But I wonder how much Victoria not voting for Larsa and being the lone vote for Teresa in the general election
Mhm.
for supervillain of the week, how much that actually kind of lost any hope for Victoria and Larsa being a thing. Because I understood where Victoria's coming from. She says, it's a mob mentality. I went along with it with Rich last week and I don't want to do it again, which explains to us that she didn't really think that that was the way to go last week. And she knows that the vote's not going to go her way, and she votes for Teresa and is the lone vote for Teresa to be supervillain of the week. And Larsa kind of calls her out on it and says like Larsa pulls the Teresa line of we've known each other longer, which in her case is actually a lot more relevant than what
Mhm.
Teresa was doing, just being like, we've been in this house for like a couple days longer. Where, Larsa has actually spent time with Victoria outside of this situation. Seems to be really perturbed by the fact that she still didn't get her vote.
Yeah, I just don't understand why though. Like to me, this is such a like throwaway vote, right? Like you
Yeah.
were gonna win. New Yorker's psychic. She already told us you were gonna win. You didn't need my vote, and I like Teresa, and she's been
She's been
taking up for
nice to
me.
me.
She's
Yeah.
been nice to me. You haven't really even been nice to me. You still haven't accepted my friend request. So it's kind of like, let me throw her a
I
bone.
I felt for Victoria in this
I
situation
did.
because I fully like even though strategically understand sometimes you just got to vote with the house. It's not worth it to like put your neck
Mhm.
out and piss off the person that's going to win anyway. Um but I understood her rationale of being like, and she gets emotional and she starts to cry and she says, "This was a really hard decision for me. I felt bad. I knew that you had the votes, but I would have if I were Teresa, I would have been sad to not get any votes."
Mhm.
So she essentially is saying I gave her a pity vote
A pity vote.
because she's my friend and I like her too.
Right.
It wasn't a vote against you, it was a vote for Teresa. And she's emotional about the fact that she had to make a decision that she felt was difficult. And I really believe that for her, she didn't really mean any harm here. And she also probably didn't expect for Larsa to be that offended by it.
No.
Um, so this is tough to watch for Victoria.
Yeah, the queen has fallen. I think Victoria, this is an awful like week for you. I think it's been an awful 2 week stretch.
Ugh,
She's losing grip on the game. She had such a good little run, and now I'm
yeah,
like, if you were questioning why Victoria is on House of Villains, this is why. You know, like
yeah.
if you've never been familiar with her until this point, this is exactly what we're talking about. You know, the idea that you come into the house and you tell everybody, I'm wearing a tiara and you can call me queen or you can call me Vicky. You know, and it's like, who tells somebody they can call you queen, especially when you're surrounded by other people who are demanding to be called a queen, such as New
Mm-hmm.
York, Camilla, you know, like, but to come in and be like, oh, it's queen or Vicky, you know,
Or
whatever,
Vicky, I
you know,
guess.
so it's like
Or Queen
that
Vicky.
attitude, and then to walk around and say and do the things that she does, it's grating on people. It just is. And so she's solidifying her spot here as a reality TV superstar. I think that I'm thoroughly enjoying Victoria. I don't want her
Oh,
to go
yeah.
anywhere. Don't go
Yeah.
anywhere. You know, I'm sorry.
I
Like,
mean,
I
how
know.
much of the drama has been surrounding her?
Yeah, what happens if we lose Victoria? I don't want it to happen. You know, like, I'm sorry. I've said this before. Teresa, for me, your time's up. You know, like let's leave some of the, you know, the bigger personalities that to this point in the
Mhm.
house. Let's leave them in the house to let them do the things that they're doing, you know. And
If
I'm
you're not
not
gonna even tell us what you're doing, like,
right.
let's go. Let's get going here.
Yeah, this is House of Villains. Although listen, they might have tried to fool us into believing that this was another show, The Goat, but this is House of Villains, okay? And so you could be the greatest of all time on a different show, Teresa, but here you got to be villainous, or you got to at least talk shit about people in the confessional or something. You know what are we doing?
Now, I will say that Teresa did finally kind of give some inkling to what her strategic plans could be if she were to win Supervillain of the Week in what I wonder how much of it becomes a bit of a nail in the coffin for Teresa here, where she goes to New York, and New York is already kind of over Teresa. I have no idea if she even has anything personal against her. She just wants the room to herself. But Teresa comes to New York, and uh New York is basically like, I don't know that I would have been safe. I took
Yeah,
that safety. I don't know that I would have been safe if you had won. And like Teresa's like, oh, come on, what are you talking about? And New York asks her, like, okay, well, what guy would you have gone for if you win? And Teresa says Wes. And New York is flummoxed. She is like, it's like she saw a ghost, and she might
yeah,
have, because the house is haunted and it's haunted in her favor. And we have this really funny interaction where New York is like, she like she activates, and then
yeah.
it's like she becomes possessed almost. She's like,
They put her on
I've
the charger. She got on
yeah,
the charger. It was
yeah.
like
It's like when you
loading.
put it on the charger, the light turns on.
That's exactly what it was
Been
like.
activated. And she looks straight forward in the room, and Teresa's perturbed by this. She's like, "Why aren't you looking at me?" And she's like, "This is where I have to look right now."
So, but
And
what does
I
that mean?
swear I
What
love
does she
this.
mean by this? What was New York doing?
She's activating. She's
I mean,
processing.
what was it about West being the target there that really sent New York into that motion? Because to me, it felt like New York is lying to Teresa. New York was never in danger with Teresa, and she knows it. But now
Oh,
that
yeah.
Teresa has a satisfactory answer to her question, she can't even look at her in the eye because she's trying to betray this woman, and that woman has done nothing to her. She's like,
But
I would have voted for
also,
you. I'd have voted for West. She's like, yep,
she's got information that is good for she's like, "Oh, but one of my people, and I can use this." Like,
I can
I
use
think that
this.
I think that she was not prepared for the fact that she was going to get such juicy stuff from her,
Yeah.
and I almost felt like, like the meme of, like, the math equation, like, on the screen, and, like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, I felt like that
You
was
could
her just
see it.
being like, yeah, like, her, and so that's why she couldn't look at Teresa. She was kind of, like, processing, like, "What do I do with this? This is very helpful, like, I can take this to Wes, to get what I want out of this situation, which is this bedroom to myself."
And it's wild. This is not the first social strategy game New York has played. This is not the first time she's ever been in a situation where keeping information to yourself to utilize on for other people is going to be a thing. And New York acted like it was the first time someone explained to her, like, and if someone tells you who their target is, you can use that against them. Because she's like, wait, it happened. Now what do I do? Okay.
Okay, what do I do with
Okay.
this?
Okay. I gotta tell Wes. Okay, cool. And Teresa's like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything. But you can read it all over her face. It's like, she's about to do something. She's about to go
Yeah.
do something awful. And this, again, this is awful for Teresa because New York wants her out because of the bedroom. It's all about the room.
Okay. We need to talk about this, Chappell. The room, I cannot believe how much of the drama and strategy of this game comes down to where people sleep and what rooms they are assigned. Like, how many times in this show have we heard people be like, "Oh, I don't want to put this person up. That's my roommate."
Yeah.
Like, they've lived
New York
together
was the
for
first one
years.
who said it.
I
New York was the
know.
first person who
But they
said that.
all do it. They all
Yeah.
do it.
She coined
And
the phrase and is now working against it because, Richard's gone. There's an extra bed. So that means there's a room that could just be mine. It's better than protecting your roommate, not having a roommate at all. Okay.
Mhm. And here's the thing, I don't know why they have this, like, sacred thing where it's like, if I'm sleeping inches away from this person, I can't betray them. I don't know, maybe it's like a fear that, like, okay, if I cross this person, I'm vulnerable while sleeping in their presence and they could just, like, knife me in the night. I don't know. I don't know if
Mhm,
that's the case, but I wonder if, you know, we've lost a couple numbers now.
mhm,
And New York is doing, because we've got gamer New York here, okay? I mean,
mhm.
she is chaotic still, but she's game in this season. And maybe she's looking at the numbers and saying, like, Teresa's not doing anything for me. So I don't want to be in the same room as her either because I have this weird like thing where it's like you well, if it's your roommate, you got to protect them. There's some sort of like unspoken bond where if you're like sharing a bedroom with someone, you also need to be like working together in the game. So she's like, well, the only solution is to get her out of the house and the bedroom.
Which
Kill
is
two birds
crazy.
with one stone.
It's insane. I love it so much. I love it so much. I'm sorry. Because it's New York, what?
Nonsense.
And because that's the thing, even we saw Candy talk about it. Like, I want the big closet. I need the closet space. I'm not moving my room. In this episode, we'll see Victoria being the one to be like, that's okay. I'll switch. It's cool. And then you can have
Again,
this room. And then she's trying so hard
she's
to do the
trying
right
so
thing.
hard. I
But
know.
everything in her being is like, be annoying, like bother these people,
Piss
get
these
on these
people
people's
off. Eat
nerves.
the
Yeah,
crackers.
piss them off, eat the crackers. Um, like, don't eat the crackers around them. But why? I want to eat the crackers in front of them. That's exactly what it's giving.
It's
Um,
fun.
it's crazy. This is insane. I love it so much. The idea that Teresa's number one ally, one of her number one allies, her roommate, the person who sleeps inches away from her, is now plotting on her just to get her room in a game that is for money, a game that is for about outlasting everybody else. You're willing to burn a bridge with somebody who is not coming for you. Um, I just
It's
don't understand how you could play this game with New York. Not to say that I wouldn't love to because she's amazing, but at the same time, you don't know what it is tomorrow that might piss her off, that might turn her against you. Teresa was doing nothing but existing, and this happened.
but there was the montage where New York says she's pissing me off the way she's going around the house, and there's this montage of her just like being motherly and like asking people if they need things. She's like, she's gone too far.
New York can see they in the corner like, not on my watch.
Maybe the cooking is really bad.
I think so. I think
She's
so.
like, I'm tired of her trying to take care of us. It's bad. It's really salty.
Oh my god. That's a good point. Later on, when we will see the makeshift alliance of the Real Housewives
Real
of the
Housewives of the
Valley.
Valley.
Yeah, I believe Teresa's tagline is "Don't come for my roast, or you're gonna be on the menu." And I'm like, we still talking about this roast? It's been 3 weeks of show.
But it was also an incredible tagline at the same time. I was like, this was the moment of the season for Teresa. And
Mhm.
it was a tagline for a like spoof of like a fake Real Housewives based on the 3 that go on the reward. Like so funny. I'm like, yeah, that's like, and that's how you know. And nothing, and
Yeah.
this is no shade to Wes. Like Wes, I'm a Wes stan. I love Wes. Okay. I
Mhm.
am
Mhm.
unapologetically obsessed with Wes. Um, but his tagline was the weakest. These two, Larsa and Teresa, know what they're doing. Like
I know what they're
Larsa
doing.
with the like, if you're gonna act like a bitch, then you can come to my dog's party, or what? Yeah, if you're gonna be a
It
bitch, then welcome to my dog's party. Like the
right.
callback to the dog's birthday party, the bitch part. Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, 8.
They did. They did. Wes's was the only thing fake about me is my Mensa membership. Uh,
Which is like, it was fun, it was cute, not
it's
hot.
fun. It's cute, not hot. He's out of his league here with the
He
Housewives. Okay.
is.
But I will give him
That's
credit for
okay.
this. Wes set out to get Camilla on the block and was successful. His
Mhm.
goal was also to save Victoria from the block. Not as successful, but
Right.
getting Camilla on the block after betraying him last week, while playing nice with her, and then almost getting away with this kind of like under the radar move was pretty cool. Obviously he doesn't get away with it completely because Larsa will name drop him and be like, Wes, you were right, blah blah blah. But I don't know. I think this is good. Candy and Camilla are on to Wes, but it doesn't matter because Camilla's on the block. And so if Wes has a successful week this week, Camilla will be the one going home.
Yes. And I think that kind of leads us to what I think should be us picking up the conversation about the cocky and who gets it this week, because you have brought up New York, and I think that there are points in favor and possibly you know in what would be the opposite of in favor, against, I don't know, words,
Mhm.
against her being in contention for the cocky here, because yes, she is safe. She got the, you know what I mean? She got the bedroom to herself. But can we question the strategic merit of her just creating a new beef for herself that did not exist? I truly think Teresa would not have been a problem for New York whatsoever, out of potential boredom or just simply the need to have the bedroom to herself. Like, is she do from TV perspective, love her, bless you. What enemy number 1 is gone, and you said, I need something new to do. It is Teresa. Did she need to do that? Like, is that enough of a strike against giving her the coggy, even though I think that she is overall successful in what she wants here? Teresa's not at the door. She might stay.
Yeah. I'm not willing to give New York the cocky unless Teresa goes. If Teresa
Okay.
goes, New York can have this cocky and next week's cocky. She can have
Wait,
them
wait.
both.
So you saying we shouldn't give the cocky away yet?
I think we should give it away. But I do think that like I reserve the right to be like, and New York should have gotten it last week and next week,
Okay. We could
because
retroactively give her a cocky
like an
from this
honorary.
episode.
Yeah, no, she can't
Okay.
have it cocky because I think you're right. I think getting Teresa on the block is a wild thing. I think for that to be her goal for the week, it's
Like,
already questionable.
unnecessary. She could have been so like, at what cost sort of
At what
thing, because
cost?
it's,
At
you
what cost?
know, because
Yeah,
she was
it's
safe the minute she took that,
yeah.
box, you know what I mean?
She
Like,
didn't have to do this.
she didn't have
Yeah.
to get messy like this, but also I love you for it, New York. Bless
Right,
you, baby.
and she did it. She was successful. So it's like
Yeah,
New York has been New York. Depending on who goes on next week, I think I want to entertain it for next episode. But this episode, I don't think we can give it to her.
I
But if
agree.
that's the case, who do you think you should be able to give it to?
This is why it's not a clear cut for me this week, because I think that we should also discuss Wes here, because
Interesting.
I know that I was just, uh c- proclaiming my adoration for Wes, but it's also because I'm impressed by like watching him work. Yes, there's so much heat on him. I don't think it turned out perfectly, but I think that given the situation and like the conversations that took place, all of the yelling and fighting and the comparing of stories leading up to the hit list nomination, like the fact that yes, he didn't get the perfect nominations for what he wanted, but there were many situations where he should have, and we thought maybe could have ended up on that nomination block, and he still continues to evade it. He is still yet to be on the nomination block for more than a second before somebody whips out the cocky. Like, I think that is worth discussing because
Yeah.
he basically said, he took Victoria, wounded bird, and was like,
Mhm.
"Hey," and has, seen benefits from that relationship. And he really seems to have like taken on Larsa. We hear him talk about Larsa on the Traders, like, she had some good instincts, but she was messy. Like I kind of want to take her on as like a protege. Like this is his new project.
Yeah.
And it didn't not work out for him.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Okay, I want to hear it because I'm not sold on it. I'm just saying I think it's someone that needs to be discussed.
I think we have to take New York and West out of the running because
Mm,
I think that both
until
of
we
these
see what
things are
happens.
they're
Yeah.
results
Okay.
oriented. If West
Mhm.
manages to get anybody out of the house not named Victoria, I think he's fine. He deserves the cocky. I
Yeah.
think New York has to get Teresa out. Because I think that there are people who have a better game this week than West and New York. They were the most active in trying to make their game happen, but it's not like they have like ellipsis. They didn't finish. But
Yeah.
there are a couple people where I'm like very impressed that they managed to stay off the block. I was going to mention Candy Muse. I do think it's a hit to Candy Muse that she will be losing Camilla potentially.
Potentially.
But
Potentially. Like,
yeah, but Mr. Spectacular here is in an
okay.
amazing spot. Amazing spot.
I am on board.
Yeah, him
Chappell,
and
I thought
Safari. But Mr. Spectacular, I will give him the credit here. He hates Victoria. The women had an alliance that he was on the wrong side of, and so he ended up on the block. Jesse
no
is
one's
like,
talking about him.
he's perfectly fine. The person he hates the most is on the block, and that's Victoria, even though he's aligned with her.
And I think she likes him too. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing.
she does not want to get him out.
He
If he
hates her
survives the week,
silently.
yeah. He's like, I want her gone, but if she stays, it's still not the worst thing in the world for him. He just hates her. He's just annoyed by
Yeah.
her. I think we got to give it to Spectacular.
Oh my god, Chappell, I'm so happy because I thought that this was too off the board, but this is
It's a little off
actually
the
what
board, but I don't hate it.
but I think that you all of the points you raised are perfect because yes, there are a lot of reasons why I could argue for New York. There are a lot of reasons why I could argue for West, but it is like highly dependent on who ultimately goes out. And I think that given that it's hard to tip the scales in one of their favorites, even though the fact that they are aligned, they obviously want different people to go out here, which I think that will make a very interesting next episode. And I just think that even though he hasn't been a huge part of the episodes, obviously he featured a lot more prevalently in the last episode because he was on the block and won the redemption challenge. I am loving the fact that
Mhm.
this big beefcake of a guy, Mr. Spectacular,
Mhm.
is fading into the background. No one is saying his name. He's so set up. Wes and Safari will always take the fall before him.
Oh yeah,
Like, he has to
easy.
be if someone is gonna take a strike at all 3 guys again, I think that he is in the best situation of those 3. Um, I think that I love the idea of giving Mr. Spectacular the cocky. I think that
Yeah.
it is an off the board choice, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the cocky for just stepping
Being
back
cocky.
and letting the mess well, I mean, and we know he is.
Who's cockier than him?
Um, exactly. But it's like he's not even he's not causing trouble for himself. He's doing it in like this impeccable a way where he's just like there's a ton of egos here and he has one. But he
Mhm.
kind of knows when to just like let the mess happen around him. And again, I think that he's also charging.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
doesn't need to
He's
make a
waiting
mess
on it.
for himself yet.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give a shout out to Wes for obviously being like, listen, the girls are going to team up against the guys again. We can't all just be like the guys in one room
Yeah.
sitting ducks for the women. Like, you really do, he's not wrong. You really do got to go and like spread yourself around the house and start to get to know other people. But, you know, the goal is to also not make enemies. And I think as far as Wes goes, eventually Camilla's going to catch on that Wes is coming after her. I mean, Larsa basically throws him under the bus. Jesse has a good relationship with Larsa.
Yes.
You know,
He picked
so
her last week. Like,
and
we got questioning.
they saved each
He
other, you
easily
know,
could
or
have been a
whatever.
person that could have, I mean, now Larsa says early on, that she was planning on putting up three women.
Uh-huh.
The Women's Alliance people on Twitter are like clutching their
Yes.
pearls. They're
No,
pissed.
no. Play the clip of the Black Widow Brigade. It's coming back, I
It
promise.
happened. It happened once.
I swear
Um,
it happened.
but that again, that's another point to Jesse here, and that like, hey, he maybe made an ally. That's what he was saying. He was like, okay, this is an opportunity to potentially make a relationship with someone new here. It kind of paid off by just like not getting put on to the nomination here. I don't know. It seems like he's in a good spot with her. So I think that that's even more reason to give it to him here. I
Mhm.
just think that
Yes.
like by doing little, he did a lot. And
Yeah.
sometimes we need to reward that.
Right, right. I think he's in a good spot. Like I said, I was gonna give a little shout out to Candy because I don't understand how Candy Muse's name never comes
Right?
up for nominations as well. But to me, losing Camilla here would be bad for Candy, and so I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
I
I
I'm not willing to see that yet.
and that I think that, obviously it seems like with based on the way that the nominations go, Larsa's target still does seem to be Victoria here, even though it seems like Wes tries to get her off of that. Um, but if you're gonna put Camila up, if that's like your secondary target, is it not worth it to put like that's the thing. It's almost kind of like what we criticize Camila's nominations for when she like,
Mhm.
you know, put people from different sides up against each other. It's like you're pissing off people in different
Both sides.
areas.
Yeah.
Um we literally see this kind of backfired on her in that like Camila and Victoria are like high-fiving and like these two hated each other earlier in this episode
Mhm.
and are kind of coming together and being like fuck this bitch like we're coming after you whoever wins here. And I just yeah, it's kind of impressive that Candy does not get thrown up on the hit list as collateral for being so clearly like Camila's number one. Like it was those two and Rich.
Yeah.
Camila decides to strike at Rich. Rich ends up being the one that goes home. And Camila and Candy are still very tight. And so for Candy to like completely avoid the block here and for Larsa to make the confusing move of also putting Teresa like a third area of like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, is it bad gameplay or is it Candy's just working really hard and people don't want to piss her off and hey, that's game two. So
Game two. Yeah. I mean, it's working for New York, you know? So
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, I wonder if people are like because I think that Candy is probably gonna be, like, good in a lot of these challenges, so maybe it's just, like, people are waiting to take the strike when they know that they can hit? I don't know.
Mhm. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll
We
see. I'm
will
very
see.
excited.
Yeah, because
Very
yeah, we
excited.
have I don't know, I just thought this episode was really fun. It was, like the fact that we were getting all of this drama over beds and like I could not follow the rationale. Like I understood what Wes was saying, like, okay, like this appearance of the guys all being together is gonna get even worse if we're sharing a room. But then they did it anyway. Did that not confuse you too?
Yeah, well, I couldn't figure out the room configuration because Boyce did bring it up. But Safari did he switched the rooms, right?
Yeah,
So,
I thought what he
um,
was suggesting was um that Teresa was just gonna move into the room with Safari or that Teresa was going to move. into Victoria's bed, and then Victoria was going to move to, I don't know what. I thought that they were trying to still suggest like, okay, if Teresa needs to move, we're going to get her into one of our rooms and we still need to have like us spread out. But then they ended up all in the same room. So I don't really understand what that was all about.
It was like a public alliance, like a public like agreement, like, okay, if we
Yeah.
do this for you, just know it's for you. You know what I'm saying? Like they had to make it known that like, all right, this isn't because
We're
all the
doing this to
guys
help
wanna,
you.
yeah, we're doing this to help you. You put us in this position. Sure, we'll take the L right now, as opposed to them being like, oh yeah, fake, let's all group up. Maybe that's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like the arguing over buying Instagram followers and like the biggest insult is to not follow someone back on Instagram, like just
Mhm.
beautiful. Like this is just the unserious kind of drama that we come to House of Villains for.
Yeah. Hey, what's
It's
a bigger
fun.
insult than buying followers if your
Ooh,
whole thing is that you're an influencer, right? Like if you're
yeah.
an influencer, then that means that you're not good at your job. I just told you that you were a bum. Now speaking of bum, they once again are throwing Victoria under the bus. Like, at least I got my house together. At least I got my life together. I said, Larsa, damn, like
Well,
fuck being for
yeah,
Victoria.
like I'm not
Victoria,
gonna take life advice from someone like
right? No, I'm not. Look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to nobody, but Victoria was a woman who went on The Bachelor. Like that's it. Like
Mhm.
she was not married to an NBA player for 30
Yep.
years. You know what I'm saying? Like she does not have the same background that you have. That is not her story. It's like y'all are holding her accountable for not being an entertainer when I mean she is, but she's not. She
Yeah.
definitely was a woman who went on The Bachelor. So I'm just like, this is crazy. They keep throwing this in her face. It's like Safari is a musician, like he's an artist. Like I said, Larsa was married to a millionaire for years and years and
Yeah.
years. Also has got
And
her
then the
own
Real
spin-off.
Housewives.
The
Yeah.
Housewives is a
Yeah.
show, that she was one of the faces of. Same thing with Teresa. Candy competed in Drag Race and has been in the public eye doing that kind of thing. She went on a dating show, y'all. And then she went
I
on
mean,
another dating
Larsa said
show.
you've been on TV for 5 minutes, which I was like, I I mean, it was
Yeah.
pretty like wild, insult, but also like in comparison,
Yeah. It's like
you're
she
kind
hasn't
of
had
making a point.
right. It's like she hasn't had the time that y'all have had to do these things, to make these, to grow like this and,
Mhm.
and get all this wealth that you all have had, you
But
know.
also look at her impact on this show.
Right. Look at that. We're talking about her. And she's won the cocky twice. So what have y'all done? So
So, like, Larsa, we could have given you the cocky. I
yeah.
just didn't understand this. I didn't understand putting up Teresa. Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just loving. I just think that this cast has so many different like everyone kind of hates each other but also likes each
I
other,
love it.
which is making it so messy.
We love it here.
And I'm really really enjoying it. And yeah, next episode, Tori Spelling?
I couldn't tell who that was. I just knew that they
Is
were in a
that's Tori
school.
Spelling, right?
I couldn't tell. It went by too quickly. I didn't watch it
I
more than
think
once.
is Tori Spelling a villain?
Yes.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know enough about her lore aside
Mhm.
from I maybe I'll have to do some reading or I'll
It's
like
not from Big
I'll learn.
Brother.
Yeah, like
um
I know that what's his face? What was his name?
Adam
The one that
Pock.
was Adam Pock, that's right. Oh my god.
Mhm.
His obsession with Tori Spelling. And she had a reality show too, right?
She did. Tori Spelling's had
Yeah.
reality shows. She's been on
Yeah.
multiple television shows.
I know
She's
like
been
I knew her from TV, but I was just
yeah,
like,
yeah. Seems like
I
she's
just
gonna
didn't
be here
know.
next week.
Yeah, they're in a school. There's gonna be a
Oh,
slumber party, and I think we're going to
love
get
fight.
the more of New York versus New Jersey. New
Mhm.
York and Teresa continuing to see if New York is ultimately going to reign victorious on this and permanently get Teresa out the house, not just out of her bedroom. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I'm having a great
What's your
time.
what do you think's gonna happen? Who do you think's going?
For me, I need Teresa to go. No disrespect. Again, to the housewife fans out there, that's cool. Teresa does
Don't come
not.
for us.
Yeah, I don't hate her. I don't hate Teresa. she's not doing anything in the game now. And I know she will fight New York next week, surely, because New
So
York's
maybe
on.
she'll turn it up.
So maybe she'll turn it up. But right now, I'm kind of like, if you're not giving us any drama or anything like that, I kind of need you out. And that's not only to say Teresa. There's a couple other people that I'm like, hey,
We
I
just
need you to
gave
step it up.
we just gave the cocky to
Oh,
Mr.
and
Spectacular, and
and
he's
he's next on our list of like too
it's
boring
like
to
this
stay
is
here.
it's yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, okay, we're giving it to you under these pretenses, but it's like we will not give it to you again for these same reasons. You know what I
right,
mean? It's kind of
right.
like a warning.
It is definitely a warning. It's like, hey, you're doing really good at staying out of the stuff. What the hell are you
But
doing?
also, I want you to
Get in the
start getting
game.
in this stuff.
Get in the game. So this might be your week to lay low, but get in the game.
Well,
And so
eventually you
that's what
have
I
to.
need.
That's the thing. It's like that is, part of it. I mean, it's not everyone's strategy. We've seen like Wes has had his hand in everything like from the second he walked in the door. And that's just Wes doing Wes stuff. But I still stand by our decision to reward that kind of gameplay because I think it is working for him. But yes, it's the same. You're on notice, okay? We are rewarding you for playing a good game
Yeah.
to not create too much drama, but also we want you to create drama soon, so
Step it
please
up.
do that.
Step it up.
I just love us talking to people as if this show is happening live and they can hear
It is
us
live.
and they
I
can
don't care.
change their behavior.
Step it up. Step it up.
Listen, we're just trying to manifest the reality. We're like New York. We're gonna have a
Hmm.
dream tonight where Mr. Spectacular is going to turn up the heat. Things are going to change,
Hmm.
and we're just trying to like manifest that into reality. Uh, and everything that is said on this podcast is
Is
fact.
100% true. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You can quote it. It's real. It's true. Anyway, anything else from this episode that we haven't hit on here, Chappell?
No, that's it. I'm like I said, great episode. You were right. Probably the best one. We had so much to talk about
It's
for
jam
each of the
packed.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, each of the players had something going on that was interesting. Except Safari, he's there. But again, he just came off the block, so I'll give him a little
Mhm.
grace for a little
He
bit.
needs to lay low, and I
And
understand that for
he's
him.
got to recharge. He's got to recharge.
Everyone's
But as
recharging.
they're charging up. They're revving up for
I know.
a good time. Here we're episode 5. I'm assuming this is gonna be like 10 episodes or so, maybe.
I can't count, so
How many did we have last
maybe we
time?
have like 2 episodes per eliminate like per cycle. So and there was
Uh-huh.
10 people to start, but then they have a couple people left at the end. So maybe
How many
12?
episodes did we get the first season? 10.
That's a
We
great
got
question.
I
Oh,
lied. I'm looking. I'm
no.
looking. I'm looking. We got 10.
Hmm.
House of Villains season 1, 10 episodes. That means we hit the halfway point that quick, Jenny. What's up?
No way. I think that we
I'm
I think we're
I'm
gonna do
looking at the
12.
episode guide. There was
Oh, okay.
10.
Okay, but last season, but I'm thinking
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
we're gonna get 12
Oh,
this
you
time.
think they got the guide out for season 2? Let me see.
I mean,
Season.
they eliminated someone and then they brought someone back immediately. I feel
That's
like
true.
we're on a different schedule.
Yeah, I lean toward agreeing with you for sure. Just because with the bringing back bringing out Larsa randomly is kind of just like okay, maybe they're gonna do this. On the wiki they have up to week 7 listed.
Okay.
Um, up to episode 7. I'm sorry, so up to week 4 listed. So they haven't gotten that far ahead of us as far as like naming when these episodes go. But I don't see a more updated one that tells us what the finale is going to be or
Because I feel like
what
this goes
episode that's going
into
to be.
like December at some point. So I feel like, I mean, I guess we're at the end of October. So I guess we, even with 5 more episodes, we would get into December. I'm saying
Yeah.
12. So that's my expectation, but
Okay.
we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
Either way, it's been a strong start, and yeah, I'm just I'm very on board with the stunt casting of bringing in Larsa
Mhm.
after the first elimination because she's here to play, even if I'm not fully agreeing with all of her decisions. Like that made for a hell of an episode.
Mhm.
But yes, we will of course be back next week. So we're gonna have the redemption challenge and find out who ultimately is going to be the third villain eliminated between Victoria, Camilla, and Teresa.
Yes.
Wild times over here. Having a great time with it, of course. But in the meantime, Chappell, what else have you got going on?
Catch me on Recap Kickback. Oh, thank you all for voting for
The
me for that
votes.
award. That was
Yeah.
crazy. I said it and then I never put it in the show notes, so I didn't think it was gonna come up because I don't do the
I
show notes.
found the link, so I probably should have tweeted it. I found it
Yeah,
and I
me
voted.
too.
I think
Thank you.
people found it.
Yeah, people found it. I'm gonna text the people and say put it in the show notes. But yeah, I'm running for this award, but I'm only publishing it on this podcast. This is the only one. As many
This one.
I've never mentioned it on anything else, so I'm just like, okay, let's see if we
We
get enough
just got the
nominees.
villain squad on it.
We got the villain squad on it. Yeah, vote for
Mhm.
me for the Waco podcast of the year. That's cool. Again, I hope it'll end up in the show notes. We'll see. And then catch me on Recap Kickback. That's the one you got to vote for me for. Just type in Recap Kickback, and in the little box, and it will give me credit for the nomination. And then we have to do the real vote. So I got a campaign after that. But I
Oh
want
my
to be a
gosh.
nominee. So do that.
We'll get you to campaign
And
against Teresa because I think that you've probably got good chances.
yeah, and
I've
I've
had a
known y'all
podcast
longer.
longer.
Right, I've known y'all longer. Duh. And so, and then check out my podcast, Recap Kickback. This week we having Bryce Isaiah on to talk about Beauty in Black. It's insane. It's on Netflix. Mari and I started talking about the first 2 episodes this week on Recap Kickback. But when Bryce comes on, it's going to be crack. And so check that out next week. But make sure you subscribe to the podcast, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Hit the subscribe, hit that like button, and show me some love because we're bringing you House of Villains coverage every week here. And over there, it's where it's where I'm trying to make my new living. You know, I'm trying to make friends meet. I'm like Victoria. I don't have my life established yet. I got some parking tickets too.
Yeah,
So
don't make Chappell reopen his OnlyFans, guys. Okay.
I just closed it yesterday. It needed open it back up. Okay, so that too before the holidays. Actually. Okay, so yeah, do that, and then if I have to drop another link, support it when it drops. You know, but yeah,
Support all of Chappell's links.
all my links. And then follow at Recap Kickback wherever you get your podcast or all social media platforms. Because we got some crazy stuff coming your way. What about you, Jenny? What you got going on?
I've got nothing going on.
I'm
And
your
it
only
feels
co-host
great.
right now. That feels amazing.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you are my co-host.
I demand loyalty.
And it's okay. I'm like, listen, we just live different lives, you know? Like
Mhm.
I understand that you gotta work and you got all these other co-hosts, and that's fine because they bring things to you that I can't bring. And we
Don't
have
say
our
I'm
own
from the
special-
streets. I'm for the
No,
streets.
I'm just saying. I'm like, you've got stuff going on because you're a busy man, and I'll always be here to talk villains when you're ready and when you have time for me, and like that's just the relationship we have, and I love it.
I love that too.
So anyway, you can follow me on social media at Jenny Autumn. We will of course be back again next week with episode 6. Thank you again, everyone, for supporting the podcast. You know, hit the like on the YouTube if you watch this here on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed. WeKnowVillains.com. And we're having a good time over here. Happy Halloween. I don't know when
Happy
you are
Halloween.
listening to this. Big Halloween people over here.
Tomorrow, yeah, happy belated Halloween. I'm sure this won't be out
whenever
tonight.
you are hearing this. It's probably in the past now, but it's
Happy November.
Happy November.
Bye.
Okay, see you later.